like Dr. Corsi, that must have stung. What do you got?
We've got New York Fire Department, a bunch of guys looking at the ticker in Times Square saying Osama bin Laden.
Ah, it's such a joyous occasion. Now, what about my odds on being... I have to tell this story because I didn't really have proper time, but Eric, you haven't heard this yet. You don't listen to this show. What do you care about me? I'm in D.C. Now, what am I doing in D.C. to begin with? Think about it. You know, I mean, I'm there once every 2 years, maybe. So the fact that I'm there, and I hear people charging down the street outside my window of my hotel, which fronts K Street or something. I hear all people running in the streets. I think there must be a bomb or something. I look out and see kids all running, holding flags up. Flip the TV on. It says bin Laden's dead. Unbelievable. I turn the sound up. And they're showing a map where they Google Earth in, and then they show a red square that says, I can't even pronounce it at that point, but it's so eerie, Abbottabad, pointing to this part of the map. So at that point, I am literally reading my hero is Michael Crichton. And he wrote a great book called Travels, and I decided to reread it on this trip. Now, earlier in the evening, I go to perform for an insurance convention. Nice people. But I have to do my meet and greet from 6 to 6:30, and then I go on at 8:30, and the man says, do you want to go back to the hotel? And I say, no, I brought my book. I'll just sit here in the dressing room and read. So in that 2 hours, I knock off 100 pages of the book, which cavorts me way ahead to a certain page. And I stop at a chapter heading that says Shangri-La. I put my bookmark in. I go and do my show. I get in the car. I go back to the room. I get into bed after showering and having a bite to eat, and I'm going to read the book. I hear the crowd. I put the book down. I watch the news for a few minutes. And once they go through the stories once and repeat the stories, you think, okay, that's all they have right now. I'll read. Turn the sound down. Read the Michael Crichton book. It's called Shangri-La. He talks about a city called Hunzin. It's supposed to be the actual Shangri-La. Shangri-La is the mythical place, but this is a valley with a city. I flip the page. I've read 60 pages. He says, we stop on our way to a small town called Abbottabad for lunch. I honest to God, I almost faint. Now, you know he's my hero. You know I met him once, and I was towards the end of his life. So much of this book is about psychic stuff, like he was curious about psychic stuff, and from beyond the grave and all that stuff. And I swear to God, I'm not prone to this, but I had a moment there where I thought, you kidding me? I've never heard the name Abbottabad in my entire life. I hear it when in D.C. because all these confluence of weird things. And I open the book called Shangri-La, and he's talking about being in Abbottabad. I almost got teary-eyed. Michael, I'm open, baby. If you're up there, I know you're up there, but I mean, if you're trying some Michael Crichton mind thing, bring it on, man. I won't get scared. I'd love to hear from you because that was wild. And you know me, I'm a pragmatist. I'm the least person prone to that, but I must admit that's like one of the weirder experiences I've ever had in my life. All right, Stephen from Oak Park, California. Dennis. I do not know how he got my number, but Al Gore keeps calling me, reversing the charges. No point. Now that he can no longer stick it up his own ass, he has to reverse the charges. Al keeps calling me at all hours of the night, complaining about the late night, out-of-control parties at your house. I'm trying to think when I last had an out-of-control party, and I think it was the party that cropped up around me when I was baptized. So that's a long time ago. I told Al I am just a premium member. And I have no control over you. No, you don't, Steve. But you think you would. If you're going to continue your rambunctious activity, can you please invite me? I want to puke in his rose bushes. He doesn't have any plants because they give off CO2. It's barren. He's got one of those sand cacti gardens. As a demonstration of what I think about carbon offsets. Yeah, this global warming's bullshit. You know, who called this for you? I'm on fire with my record. I told you waterboarding was a great thing, and it turns out it's the best thing. Waterboarding got us this nickname that got us this guy that got us Bin Laden. Waterboarding should be mandatory. Stop and think about the concept for a second. You have a man who looks you in the eye and says, I want to die for my cause. Now, if you're an interrogator, what are you thinking right away? Well, never break them, right? You have a process that, at least as used by the Americans, has never killed anybody. Never. There's no reports of it. Never. I have no doubt it's been abused. People dunking, the Japanese during the death march, all that stuff. Yeah, I know it can. But I'm saying as we use it, it has officially not croaked anybody. And even say, Dennis, you're naive, of course it has. Even if it has. I don't think we do it to the extent that it immediately kills you, like its detractors would say. So you have a non-lethal gesture that gets a guy who's willing to die for what he believes in to spill his guts. I mean, it's heaven sent. I love waterboarding. I think it should be Times Man of the Year. I think we ought to, instead of Rat Pack parties, you ought to have whiskey and water parties where everybody gets in tuxes. Come drown with me. Come, let's float down to my shoes. This is genius, waterboarding. And so is this crap about global warming. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. What's the crux of the problem? Temperature's gone up 1.8 degrees over the last century? Maybe. Maybe not. Excuse me for not trusting temperature figures from the year 1906. We were still shitting outside in the woods, but I'm supposed to believe they had a stranglehold on the Fahrenheit at the Earth's magma. I'm sure that was an accurate reading, huh? Hey, Ezekiel, put the candle wick down the possum hole. Let's lay down a baseline for future generations to derive their self-worth from. Then we'll go hand churn some butter, maybe invent flight later this year. Come on, global warming. Wah, wah. Enjoy these samples of the Bathrobe Sessions, a weekly video available only to members of the DMZ, the Dennis Miller Zone, on DennisMillerRadio.com.